What is going on with my sound? Hey guys, welcome in. Have a seat, get comfortable. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my music. It's not playing. I don't like that. Hold on. Hey guys, I'm trying to figure out my music and I'm gonna wait for more people to join before I get started on today's topic. It's Friday night. Where's everybody at? I usually go live on Thursday evenings. Oh, here we go. What's up, George? You want to hear Jamaican music? Hold on. Let me clean my camera. Oh, what'd I do? Hey guys, I'm gonna wait for more people to join. I'm cozy today, like I'm on my couch today. A big comfy couch. So we're gonna wait for a few more people to join. I don't see my usual crew in here, so I low-key wanna wait for them. But look what I got. Guys, look what I got. Cause I'm not playing no games. Ow! I got a whiteboard. Damn, it's big as hell. I probably could set it up here. Something like that. But I got a whiteboard because things are gonna get very, very serious in here. We're gonna today we're gonna talk about the divine masculine, divine feminine principles of life and what it means, what those terms mean, because I feel like we've been hearing a lot of it lately. And I just want to clarify that it's not about woman and man, it's not about gender, and it's not about identity even. It's of energy and how it exists in all of the different functions of life, you know, and we're gonna go over what those are. Because we're originally supposed to talk about the suppression of the divine feminine. What has been suppressed, why it has been suppressed. But before we can even understand that, we have to take it back. We have to take it back, all the way back to the beginning. And we have to unravel it at its core so that we can fully understand what we're talking about. You know, when we get to talking about the suppression of the divine feminine and how it has affected the world, how it has affected all of us, man and woman, and society and the world in general. So, but before we can get to that part, we're gonna figure out what is divine masculine, divine feminine, what makes it divine, why is it divine, what about it is divine, what does that mean, and then yeah, we're gonna get into it. we're gonna get into it. And I got my whiteboard. But we're gonna wait for more people to join. I always like to wait a second to let people drop in, because I just announced that on my Instagram. How is everybody feeling tonight on this Friday evening? What are you guys up to? Are y'all at home? Obviously, right? If you guys aren't on the live. I need to write this bigger. Hi Ayana, happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hey, this kind of sucks. It's not erasing very well. I don't like that. You know? What's up, Kennedy? When did I leave the Heights? I left the Heights many years ago. Well, I moved to the Bronx when I was 16 years old. I lived in Dykeman prior to that, Heights and Dykeman, and then I moved to the Bronx when I was 15, and then I stayed in the Bronx up until I moved to LA in 2017. Hey Bree! Look what I got! Got a whiteboard. Good evening, Kathy. We are gonna wait for more people to drop in, but we're gonna talk about what part of the Bronx. I grew up on 198th and the Concourse. I moved around a little bit actually. Like we moved the first time my mom and I and my sisters and my daughter, I had my daughter already at that point. We moved to 182nd and Grand Avenue. Yikes, by the 4 line. It was pretty crazy over there. And then we moved to 198 in the Concourse. And then I moved to, what's that area? Pelham Bay. Then I moved to Pelham Bay. Hey, Coach Brown. Good to see you in here. Then I moved to Pelham Bay. Yay, we're ready. And then, hi Dee. What's everybody up to? It's Friday. Are we just home cozy? I'm chilling today. I am chilling on my couch. I've never been to Co-op City, believe it or not. Oh, that's cute. You're in your PJs getting your wine. I don't have wine because I drank last night and I'm just like, I had a lot of wine last night and a cocktail, so your girl's tapped out. Tea. I should have made myself a tea. Thank you, Ab. Ooh, Venus Day. Wait a minute. Fill me in. Whoa, what'd I miss? What do you mean Venus Day? Okay, Chris. I'm in my underwear watching the Knicks game with a gallon of water. That's crazy. Like, do you hear that, how that sounds? But hey, more power to you, man. Drink that water. Monday is Moon Day, okay? Friday is for Venus. Oh, okay. I gotta look into that. I had not heard it like that before. Teaching me something. I like that. Hey, Puddin'. Okay, guys, so it looks like the lobby is full enough at least, and we could get straight to it. So, like I was saying earlier in the live, we are going to be talking about. Thank you. So we're going to be talking about the suppression of the divine feminine, right? And how that has affected all of us collectively, male, female, the world, society. But before we could even talk about how it's suppressed, how it's been suppressed, when did this happen, and like how it has shown up in the world, this said suppression, I feel like we have to understand what divine feminine and divine masculine means, because I feel like we've been hearing a lot about it, and I feel like a lot of people have been just kind of saying it, and we're like, what does it mean? And I tend to think that people think it has something to do with like men and women, you know, like, oh, honor the divine feminine, honor the woman, but it's not that. It's really not. And they're actually, divine feminine, divine masculine are actually energies that exist in all of life, in all of creation, and we see them in different systems, societal systems, set biology, in our biology, down to psychologically cellular level. It's not just about man and woman. And when these two energies work together, okay, and are in balance, it creates a coherent system, okay? And it creates, and if we're gonna tie it back to us, because obviously, like, at the end of the day, this is like about our path to wholeness, to achieving oneness with self. So we want to be coherent vessels. We want to move through the world balanced, you know, and not acting out of survival. And the way that a suppressed feminine energy, or an exalted feminine energy, or a suppressed masculine energy, or an exalted masculine energy shows up is usually through trauma responses, things that we learned to do just because we had to survive, you know. But yes, one with the divine, creating from a place of wholeness. So I'm so excited to use this thing, so I'm gonna just start using it right now because I want to draw this Venn diagram. Hold on. So we're gonna do a circle here. I'm gonna show you guys in a second, and then another circle here. And we're gonna do feminine, masculine, and then we're gonna label this C. Okay. So, okay. So this is feminine, this is masculine, right? And when they are in balance and they come together, you can call this like the womb of creation. We can call this the womb of creation. We can call this a coherent state of being, right? Where yo, I'm fucking myself up with this board, bro. I keep hitting myself with it. And through here, you reach flow state. You're in flow state, you're creating, you're one with creation, you're one with the divine, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So, I got my notes. So I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot, guys, because that's just how I do. Okay, here we go. So like I said, divine masculine and divine feminine are not gendered concepts. They are energetic principles, universal forces that live within all of us, regardless of gender, regardless of identity, and they exist in all of creation. So we're going to describe what the divine feminine is. Divine feminine is the energy of flow. It is creation. It is intuition. It is softness. It is receptivity. It is nurturing. It is connection with the unseen. Intuition. The womb of creation. The waters, the void that births everything into being. That's what the feminine principle is. The divine masculine is the energy of structure, direction, protection, discipline, presence, right forward action. He's the container, the fire, the steady ground that holds space for evolution to unfold. So the masculine creates the safe, structured container for the intuitive creation void to exist, to create, for things to blossom, for things to just be born. So the divine masculine principle is structure, and it holds it. Okay? And they need each other. One is not more important than the other. Okay? The divine feminine, I do think there is an order of operation. We're gonna get to that part though. But so together, they're not at war with each other. They're dancing, they're in a balance, they don't dominate each other, and they, again, one is not more important than the other. We need them both. And I think many of us right now are relearning to honor both of them in a world that has long glorified. So we're living in a system where it's imbalanced. Okay, so we're more masculine leaning right now. This is where the suppression of the feminine takes place, because we live in a world that celebrates performance, celebrates overproduction. I mean, look at the way we mass produce food to the point where we have made ourselves. They've made us sick, you know, because mass produce, everything needs to be more at the cost at the cost of what, you know, at the cost of our well-being and the earth's well-being, you know. So that is where the feminine comes in. It's like understanding the nurturing aspect of life as well, that not everything needs to be produce, overconsume, and do. So masculine, we're in a world right now where it's like control. There's many systems of control right now, domination, overproduction. So when we think of these systems, they are capitalism. Off rip, you think capitalism, for sure. Capitalism is overproduction and consumption. There's so much shit on the shelves when you walk into these stores that we don't even need. We don't even be needing that shit. Girls are risking their lives for a Chanel bag. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? It's just too much consuming, overproduction, performance. And then there's patriarchy. That's another system that is more masculine. It's masculine leaning, not more. It's just straight up masculine leaning. That's it. So it disconnects, dominates, and controls. Okay? So, yes, facts. Very performative. Yeah, like girls right now, women are like willing to like just put up with like abandon, that's the word, abandon ourselves, abandon themselves for a Chanel bag. No, we should not do that. We should not give these things that much power. Okay, because a balanced feminine, a divine feminine, is one who, she's open and receptive, and yes, I receive, like you receive divine feminine, a healthy divine feminine by the definition, she receives help, she is open to help, she's soft in that, but there's also boundaries and discernment that goes with that. That is what a healed divine feminine is. She has boundaries, she has discernment. She just doesn't go. She's not passive. She's not accepting the bullshit. You know, like she's like, I love deeply, but I also honor myself. And it's not gonna cost me myself to love you or love my people, you know? So that's what, so it brings me to the next thing. So what makes these forces divine? What is divine about it? Like, why is it called divine? So divine means the principle in its original, uncorrupted, undistorted function. So in its pure state, without distortion, when it is meant to serve, because divine feminine, divine masculine are serving something greater than them, you know, and that's what makes it divine. It's the quality of an energy when it operates in full alignment with that purpose of what it's here to do, without ego, without distortion, without wounding, and without compensation. So you're not doing this to get something from somebody. You're not doing this to manipulate a situation. You're not doing this for those reasons. You simply are, because you are here to serve and like be the highest expression of yourself. Yes, thank you, Tito. Exactly. And we're gonna talk about like when we see like how it shows up in people, because you're gonna see it in everybody around you. Like women, we're gonna see this how a wounded, because that's the opposite of a divine masculine, is a wounded masculine, and how they show up in our lives, because we see it all the time, you know, it's everywhere. And same for men, we're gonna see how a wounded feminine has shown up in you guys' life, okay? Because just because we're women doesn't mean we're perfect, you know what I'm saying? We're all operating from a level of an unhealed place until obviously we choose differently and have that level of awareness, you know, when we realize how our actions affect other people. But so we're gonna look at this more foundational. So now I'm gonna bring it to like how so we're gonna take it to the biology, psychology, and in systems, because again, like I said, this doesn't just exist in us humans. This is literally creation, a way of life. It's a dance that exists in the world, you know. But so the feminine governs processes like generation, adaptation, connection, and internal awareness. The masculine is direction, structure, and external friction. So the masculine is divine when the structure serves liberation, when action is purposeful. Listen to that. When it serves liberation, not control. When action is purposeful, you're not just doing shit just to do shit. You're not just doing shit just to like control somebody, manipulate somebody, dominate somebody or something. And again, so it shields, it protects without the need to control. And when direction comes from inner knowing, not external pressure. And the feminine is divine when her openness, sharing herself is a choice, not because you have to. When she rests because she trusts the timing, not because she gives up. So when you say I trust, like when you let go and you trust the situation and you allow it to unfold however it should unfold, that is you operating from a balanced feminine, you know, without needing to contort and or not like I give up, you know, not like surrender or collapse. And when she gives from a full cup, not depletion, because how many of us have seen our mothers and our grandmothers just give, over give when they had nothing to give, you know, when their cup was just empty and yet they were giving, and what happened to them? It made them sick, unappreciated, burnt out, resentful, because then you start resenting people. And one way to protect yourself from resentment is to take ownership of yourself and say, I sorry, no, I can't do this. You know, like, no, I don't have the capacity for this, you know? So a healed feminine, ladies, like, we don't give when we give when we're full. Because anyways, like, you're not gonna help anybody when you give when you're depleted, when you help from a depleted state. Like, that doesn't serve anybody. And it doesn't serve the person you're helping, and it doesn't serve you anyways, you know? So let's see. A woman who receives, she knows her worth, not one who accepts anything because she don't believe she deserves better. So you receive. Oh, so back to what we were talking about, you know, like when we receive, knowing our worth, not because we just take anything and whatever, you know what I mean? Not because I don't believe I deserve better. So there's been so many times where we, like, again, we will accept breadcrumbs, we will accept, we will abandon ourselves for breadcrumbs from somebody else, you know? That is a wounded feminine, and it's divine would be, I receive because I know my worth, you know? So very selective. Okay, so we're gonna talk about how this shows up in biology, okay, in the human body. Are we following along? Any questions? Thanks, Coach Brown. I love how you guys write it down in the chat. I'm supposed to be using this whiteboard, but I don't know. Maybe I'll draw another visual for sure. Okay, so in the human body, so we're gonna go on a micro level, real life example, observable. So in the human body, the input would be feminine, meaning you sense hunger, your emotions, your intuition, your nervous system signals, and when it's ignored, you experience burnout, you get sick, etc. The output of a human body is considered masculine, the output. Moving, speaking, action, responding. And when it's ignored, you feel stuck or you feel overwhelmed. So, okay, here we go, in the creative process. In the creative process, the input being feminine is when you brainstorm, when you're imagining, when you're feeling into ideas. And too much of that is your ideas never materialize. So if you're stuck in the creative process and you do not materialize any of these ideas, like you do not bring them into form, which that is when your masculine comes in to bring these ideas into form, you're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel stuck, and you're going to feel, sorry, was I? Too much ideas. Your ideas never materialize. So you need to give them form, give them structure. You know, I know because I feel like now more than ever, I've been putting a lot of my ideas into action. But I do remember a time where I would be stuck in like a perpetual loop of like, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and it's gonna look like this. And then it's like just brainstorming, endlessly brainstorming, creating brains and endlessly, and then nothing comes to life. Nothing comes to life. You're just like stuck in the creative process, and you need to let that energy out, and that is balance. That is your creative process in balance, feminine, masculine, and then like I drew here, creation, feminine, they come together. Your ideas, oh cool, this is how I'm gonna use it. Your ideas, your brainstorming, and all of the intuitive ideas, whatever that you get, the brainstorming part lives here. The action lives here, and together you create. You reach flow state. You're here in the womb of creation where possibilities are endless and opportunities that you never imagined will come into your life when you're here. This is where you want to be. And it's not going to be perfect every time, and sometimes we will need to be more feminine, and sometimes we will be, it depends on what life is asking of us at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody just passed away, for example, you need to be soft, you need to be tender, you need to experience grief, crying, holding someone else, being there for someone else. It's asking you, that situation is asking you to be more in your feminine. When it's time to buckle up and get shit cracking and take leadership and make moves, this is when you're here. This is when you're here. So sometimes it'll ask you more of one or the other, depending on what the situation calls for. You know, so it's not about, yes, it's a balance, but it's really just about just like like I said before, like not operating from like the survival tactics that we were taught growing up, and understanding what situation is calling us to do at the moment. Okay, so in communication, this is how feminine and masculine energy shows up. So feminine is listening, empathy, emotional attunement. Masculine in communication would be actually expressing outward your needs, setting boundaries, taking action, etc. And so on a macro level, feminine and masculine shows up in societal systems like capitalism, which leans heavily into distorted masculine output. So constant, like I said before earlier, constant production, growth at all costs, and this shows up again in like the mass production of our food. Did you guys know there aren't any, not that there aren't any, but something's going on with our farmers. Like, we're losing farmers. Like, that's another topic for another time that I want to do an article on, but like, motherfuckers don't know how to grow food anymore. Like, we don't got no more farmers like that, because everything is done in factories. Like, we about to eat 3D printed steaks. So that is a mask heavily, yo, you feel me? That is a heavily masculine, leaning system. No balance. And this is our world today. This is our world today. So we need to now take it upon ourselves to learn how to grow food, if the climate allows it, because now that's another thing. We done fucked up the planet and the climate. Okay, so constant production, growth at all costs, efficiency over well-being. Let's talk about the work week schedule. Not sustainable. whatsoever. Like, people work too much. We work too much. We're tired. People are working just to pay bills. People are working just to stay alive. No, we haven't gotten to the imposter syndrome yet. So that is, we will in a second, because Dee wants to talk about that. So we will talk about it. Actually, I feel like it ties into this too, in a way. Yeah, it's fucked up. It's the farmers, man. It's an epidemic. I was listening to NPR radio the other day and they were talking about it, which I actually started learning about what's happening with the farmers like a year ago. And I've been meaning to talk about it more. But yes, Bree, it's not normal. We spend too much time with strangers than we do our loved ones. Truly, truly. So that is a masculine leaning, heavy masculine system. Capitalism. Super. And then we have women, and the work week schedule doesn't align with our cycles, you know, with our cycles, with our moon cycles as well, with our menses. That's another thing. And that is another way that the divine feminine has been suppressed. Because I remember a time in history where women, when they were on their period, they weren't expected to do shit. You rest during that time and regenerate. That is what that part of your cycle is asking for you anyways, is to rest and regenerate, to be able to, because then that's how you have more, and then after your energy levels pick back up. It's biology. So what's missing is rest, regeneration, sustainability. Patriarchy is another system that is masculine to the T. And it reflects an imbalanced, distorted masculine system. So it's rooted in control, hierarchy, dominance. It suppresses the emotion, the intuition, and it devalues the feminine qualities like caregiving, receptivity, cyclical living. What I was just talking about right now. Okay. And like I said, too much of anything isn't good. So we're not gonna label it like feminine is good, masculine is bad. Because there are ways, again, like we've seen, being stuck in your feminine receptivity in the womb of creation without actually producing and creating isn't good. You're gonna get stuck in freeze. Your parasympathetic system is going to be stuck in fight or flight, freeze mode, and that's not good. So we can't lean heavily into either or. It's a balance. Sometimes when the situation presents itself, we're going to be asked to bring forward more qualities that one represents than the other. And that is when you use your discernment, you know, and your life experience, your wisdom to know. Okay. So now we're going to talk about in the nervous system. So feminine and masculine energies, how it shows up in the nervous system. So are you guys familiar with what the parasympathetic nervous system is? Have you guys heard of that word before? The parasympathetic nervous system would be your it would be the female. So again, we're talking about energies and principles of life. We're not literally talking about gender. So feminine energy in the nervous system shows up in your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is rest, digestion, recovery, slowing down, repairing, restoring, receiving information from the body. So this is your input state. It allows the body to process and integrate. The sympathetic nervous system would be the masculine energy of your nervous system, which is action, movement, stress response, mobilization, focus, execution, fight or flight. And this is your output state. It allows the body to respond and act accordingly. So you need both. So too much sympathetic nervous system, too much of the masculine nervous system energy will lead to burnout, anxiety, chronic stress. So if we're constantly living in a state of overproduction, working till we fucking can't no more, we're going to develop these things: chronic stress, anxiety, burnout. And then too much parasympathetic, which is the rest, recovery, digestion, which is the feminine principle of your nervous system, is going to lead to low energy, avoidance, not getting things done, shutting down. So you need both of them. Yeah, it could be. I think it shows up with PCOS. That's an interesting observation. I could see how you would tie that together. And yes, D, resting is productive. That's what we're trying to reframe. That is what we're trying to relearn again. That is exactly it. That even when you're still, even when you are resting, you are productive because you're allowing your body to have the time and the space to regenerate so that it can reproduce and do action and forward movement again. So, and it's no point in resting if you're just gonna guilt trip yourself, because I used to do that a lot, catch myself sometimes doing it when I'm like feeling bad for resting, when I'm like, oh, I should be doing this. There's so much I need to be doing. I got so much to get done. Like, why am I not doing it? Like, why am I resting? You're not resting if you're doing that. You're not resting if you're doing that. Like, you literally have to say, I am going to, on this day, for this afternoon, I'm going to allow myself to do absolutely nothing that has to do with output, with creating, with doing, with proving, and all of those things, with work. You have to allow yourself that. It's very important. It's like your me time, because at the end of the day, like I've seen so many videos of doctors where they're like, oh, nobody on their deathbed says they wish they saved more money. Shit doesn't go with you. Don't go with you. None of this stuff goes with you at the end of the day. You go with you. Your soul goes with you, and everything you learned here and how you behaved while you were here. So, yeah. So we're going to talk about the brain. So the way that feminine and masculine energies and principles show up in our brain is the right hemisphere of our brain is the feminine one. And that is the big picture thinking, the intuition, the emotion, the creativity. Your left hemisphere is your masculine, which is logic, sequencing, language, decision making. And you need them both. One to generate meaning and the other to organize it. Even down to hormones. So hormonal rhythms and cycles. The body moves through cyclical phases, but also relies, which is feminine, a feminine trait, but also relies on timed hormonal release signals. This is for women that trigger action. So even in one body, both principles are constantly interacting. So very literal reproduction. So the egg, our eggs are receptive. It holds potential. It holds life. And the sperm, masculine, is directional, mobile, penetrative. So like, you guys seen like the cute little like animations of like the sperm moving? He's like, gotta get to the egg, gotta get to the egg. And he's just like on a mission, and it's like action forward moving, trying to get to the egg, and the egg is just there sitting still, just holding infinite possibilities. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? And what is she gonna look like? Whatever, you know what I mean? Is it gonna be twins? Like, whatever, you know, all of that. And then the sperm is like moving. So sperm masculine, egg feminine. This is how they show up. It's the same in all of life, like I said, in all of creation. And yeah, so one receives and determines viability, and the other initiates and moves towards. So the sperm initiates and moves towards the egg receives. So it's that is so literal, and that is like literally just like the best explanation of like feminine, masculine energies in creation, literally within our bodies. We're almost done with the examples, but it was important for me to have you guys understand that it's not about being a woman and it's not about being a man. It's about energy first, and then we can tie it back to us, because you know it's us. So on a cellular level, even our cells have these principles and have these energies. So the receptors in our cells would be the feminine energy, and they receive signals from the environment. The response mechanism would be the masculine aspect, and it activates, moves, or changes behavior. If a cell can't receive, it becomes dysfunctional. If it can't respond, it becomes stagnant. So important. Imbalance in your life will often mirror imbalance in your biology. So we talked about this. Constant stress, you're stuck in masculine overdrive. If you're in a constant state of stress, you're stuck in output. And if you are chronic fatigue and disconnection, lack of direction, you're stuck in freeze, shutdown, mental looping, rumination. You're stuck in your feminine. This is when ideas don't materialize. I would feel this so much, where I'm like, I be having so many ideas, and then I just get stuck and like freeze, because I'm like, I don't know where to begin. And then you don't trust. You're not putting them into action. You're not like, that's when your masculine energy has to come in to give and protect your ideas. And guys, we have to produce, we have to create. Like, we can't just consume. We can't just be consumers. And it doesn't mean that you have to be like some creative person, artistic person. Like, it could literally be like making yourself a meal in the kitchen, learning a new recipe. Get yourself stuck out of that mode. So the way that fatigue, so the reason why, if you're stuck in your feminine, the reason why it shows up as fatigue, and you think, but I'm not doing anything, how could I be fatigued? Like, that doesn't make any sense, you know? Is because you feel tired even though you didn't do much, because energy isn't being used through the proper channel. Like I said, that energy has to be released. That's your masculine. So you looping in your head is draining. It's like think about like a computer, and you have 20 tabs open on your computer, and you hear that shit on overdrive. Like, that's your brain, and you're going to be tired regardless. So back to getting real rest without guilt tripping yourself. Let's see, I'm gonna read some comments. Yes, the freedom that's on the side of that. I'm glad I did that revelation. Exactly. That's flow state. You're in flow. Aww. I'm glad this is helping you. I don't know your name because you have like a symbol. But you said, pray the Lord, definitely relate, I'm stuck in my feminine. Pray the Lord release me now with this new knowledge. You shall. You were supposed to be here today to listen to this. You were supposed to be in the chat. So you can listen to this, so you can see yourself. Professor, I've come as far as cultivating greater emotional intelligence. What more do women want? You gotta give me more context than that. Also, you should be doing this for yourself first, not for women. Okay, so now that we saw like how all of these, how energy, feminine and masculine energies and the principles, how they show up in all of life, now we're gonna talk about us. Okay, back to us, and this will help you some more, because I'm going to point out exactly how a wounded feminine shows up in life. So a wounded, distorted feminine woman, we're going to talk about us now, woman and man. She is disconnected from her body, and she is disconnected from her cyclical nature. You have an inability to receive help. You can't receive compliments. You can't rest, and you can't love. Like, I saw this a lot in my mom growing up. Like, she took on like because she's a single mom, and this shows up a lot in like single mothers, you know what I mean? And she was just like, she was really bad at taking compliments and receiving help. She'd be like, no, I'm okay, no. And she would wear it like a badge of honor. Like I'm good, I don't need nobody. And that can't be further from the truth, because we all need somebody. We all need help. We literally cannot do this shit alone, you know? And I know that like if she would have accepted help, like more help than she did, like things could have been a lot more smoother in some ways, you know, at some times. Rest too, like she felt like she couldn't rest. Like even if when she was off, like she would have to be doing something around the house. Like she couldn't be still. And the reason why was because she attached her self-worth to productivity. And that is, again, that is just the world we live in. That is patriarchy. That is capitalism. That is, I am not loved. I am only loved when I am needed and when I am being of service to somebody, or when I'm productive. That is the only time that I am worthy of love. And that cannot be further from the truth. You're worthy of love just because you are, simply are. You know, you don't need to be doing anything to deserve love. You know, like obviously other than giving love back. So chronic productivity as a substitute for presence. Again, it's like the wounded feminine will show up like this. Like it would be like she's a great mom. Like she would always be like, when it came down to getting things done and being there for us, providing roof over our head, food in the fridge, clothes on our back, we had everything we needed, right? As kids growing up. But she could not be there emotionally, and that is because she was stuck in overproductivity and always instead of being present. Sometimes you just need to be present for somebody. You know, that is a divine feminine presence. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to right away find the remedy to the situation. Sometimes your child just wants you to listen. Sometimes your child just needs you to listen to her talk and about what's wrong, about what she's feeling. And this is something I'm learning as well with my daughter, because like, see, all of these things I grew up learning, I'm seeing being modeled before me, and then I have to realize where the pattern has to end. And like, this is how, you know, my daughter right now doesn't need me to fix anything. She just wants me to be present. She just wants me to listen, you know. So hold on, this puzzle thing. So this is a wounded, we're going down the list of like what a wounded, distorted feminine looks like, because that is the opposite of a divine feminine. She's wounded and she's distorted, and it's usually through survival trauma mechanisms. So chronic productivity as a substitute for presence, emotional numbness, or spiritual bypassing. So not feeling the pain or the grief of a loss or a betrayal, and or saying everything happens for a reason, I'm not gonna give this my energy. So we think we are, when we do that, like we think we are, like as women, like we think we're like, we may be doing ourselves a disservice if we do not go into the wound, into the grief, you know. Instead of tending to the wound, the divine feminine goes through it, moves with it, feels everything. We feel everything. We don't numb ourselves. We don't suppress or bypass, you know. We feel it all, and we extract the medicine from it, from the body, not the mind. We don't intellectualize it. And this is how we process. This is how we process grief. We go inward instead of, yes, we are dismissing. Exactly. We're dismissing when we say those things. We're not actually tending to it and getting what we need from it. The lesson, the wisdom. That's where wisdom is born. That's where wisdom is born. And then when we don't trust ourselves, this is another way a wounded feminine shows up. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our intuition. And we are constantly looking to external authority for validation. When we're like, when we ask everybody and their mama what they think about some shit. Like, you don't need to ask everybody and their mama for advice. You know, yes, you can ask for advice, fine, you know, for sure. But 9 times out of 10, if you look within, you know what you got to do. Like, you know what you need to do. You know what's up. You don't need to go to everybody in the neighbors in the block, everybody now in your business. You don't need to, you know deep down what you got to do if you tune in. And a divine feminine, because we are feminine, we are intuitive by nature, by design. When we're tapped into that, we will know what to do, you know? Exactly. And be confident with your decisions. So now there's a way you can be excess. So there's a wounded, this is also wounding. So there's the suppression of the feminine, and then there's like, you doing too much type, you know? So this is when you're like, you lose yourselves in others' emotions, no energetic boundary. Like, I know that we feel deeply, but sometimes we can lose ourselves in other people's emotions a little bit too much, especially our partners. to where now it affects us. You know, it affects us. We carry the pain, and we carry the pain for everybody. Again, our grandmothers, because we can see this, how it's shown up in the women in our lives. Grandmothers, our mothers, carrying the pain for everybody and their mama, you know, a little bit, just too much. So you need to have boundaries. You can't lose yourself in other people, in somebody else's reality, and somebody else's world. You need to have an energetic boundary, like I'm here for you, I love you. It's a balance of being there for somebody without absorbing all of it, you know. So manipulating through emotion. This will come up. Okay, so manipulating through emotion, guilt tripping other people, tears as currency, okay? Crocodile tears, okay? Seduction without substance, using the feminine as performance rather than presence. Have you guys heard of the Jezebel spirit? I know you guys have heard that term before. And when I read this literally reminded me of what a Jezebel is. Okay, just a woman who uses her seduction and her sexuality to extract and manipulate. That is a wounded feminine. And you know what's so funny? That our society celebrates that. We call those girls goals, because they're using, you know, their sexuality to extract from men. There's a difference between, there's a way to do that without making it extractive, because you're like, when you are in your power and you know who you are, like you will be magnetic regardless. It'll make somebody do for you regardless. You know what I mean? But I feel like manipulating through emotion, guilt, tears, guilt tripping somebody, that is a wounded feminine. That is you using your femininity to extract and manipulate a situation or a person. Seduction without substance. So using the feminine as a performance. So again, seduction without substance, that's pretty clear what that is. It's literally just, I'm a beautiful woman, and I'm going to use that to move through the world without feeling like I need to add anything to any situation. And it's not to say we need you to add something as like output, pay bills or whatever. It's just, what are you as a container adding to the partnership with your person, right? Like, I think everyone has a role, and we must remember what that is, you know. But yeah, I feel like society does celebrate that a lot, and then you wonder like why we're in a suppressed divine feminine state, and why patriarchy and capitalism are the main things like that rule the world, you know. And women, we participate in patriarchy without even realizing it, because it's so ingrained. It's so ingrained in us. It's so ingrained in us. So the core wound underneath it all is, I'm only safe and loved when I am needed. So now we're going to talk about a wounded masculine. So the opposite of a divine masculine, the wounded masculine. This is how it shows up. Passivity, waiting to be told, inability to initiate or commit. You know, when women say, we want y'all to take the lead, we just want y'all to take the lead, okay? You're too passive. Operate from your masculinity. You don't wait for me to tell you. Don't wait to be told to do this thing. Just take action initiate and do it, you know, and lead. Avoiding responsibility by staying perpetually in potential. That's very self-explanatory. Emotional unavailability, rationalized as logic. We know emotionally unavailable men. We know them. We know those types. That is a wounded masculine. He's not in tune with his feminine, with his emotions, emotional side. And it's very important. I feel like I don't like when women say, I don't like men who are emotional. You don't realize how much you're doing a disservice to the man when you say that. How much you're adding to the wounding when you say that. Because when they hear it from us, oh my God, forget about it. Forget about it. We're not going to see the change. We're not going to see the change we want to see. We're really not. Spiritual bypassing through intellectualization. So yeah, men love intellectualizing everything. Everything needs to have rhyme and reason. And performing strength while secretly terrified of being seen as weak. We've seen what that looks like, right? Like when someone, when a man is performing to be strong, but he is quite insecure underneath it all, you know? So here's the excess masculine without a heart. So domination masquerading as leadership. That sounds like, right away I thought about Donald Trump. Yikes. Okay, domination masquerading as leadership. No, that's not a true leader. That is not a true leader. You don't dominate. You don't seek domination. You need to, a divine masculine, of masculine energy and its divinity is rooted in freedom and in liberation for all of creation. You're not dominating. Control over others disguised as protection. Okay, I feel like that's shown up a lot in our fathers and our dads, saying, you know, controlling, trying to control you, control your just everything that you do, saying, because I love you and I want the best for you, or whatever. Yikes, this is a big one. Aggression when boundaries aren't respected. So, you know, when we place a boundary on a guy, for example, and then like it makes him upset that we placed this boundary, that is a wounded masculine. Okay, because you were operating from domination and control the whole entire time. And the minute that, not from love, because the minute it gets taken away from you, you resort back to aggression. Emotional shutdown enforced as discipline, when you bury yourself in your work because you don't want to feel emotion, so you just work and you say, oh, I'm not ready for commitment because I just want to work. I'm just focused on work. So you completely ignore your emotional side. You completely mishandle people in your life as well. And the core wound underneath all of that is a man that thinks that he's only valued for what he produces or what he can control. Yeah. So the thing about it is that a lot of these things have been celebrated in our world, so it's made us lose the plot completely. Because when we see a man who's like alpha male, for example, and he's like producing and he's successful and he's got everything, the money, the cars, the house, whatever, it usually comes at a cost, by the way. it usually comes at a cost. And the cost usually is family, is usually your loved ones, it's usually those things. And then it leans on the woman, who has to be very understanding, because we live in a world that we must provide. So we will be there as the backbone to the family. So it's just like a lot of imbalance in the world going on. But you know, obviously we want those things. You know, we want the house and the cars and the kids and all those things. And we live in a world where we need to get with it, get with the program. So we have to do it. But you know, whenever we can have that balance for the men I'm talking to, where we can be tending to our emotional state, to our loved ones, not only when we're producing, just presence, just being there, you know, just being there, holding space, showing love, listening. Time is the most valuable thing that anyone could ever give you, by the way, their time. Because yeah, we live in a world where time is money. Any questions right now? Good chat, guys. Peace is priceless, Aqua Dawn. That is it. Truly. You just walked in? Damn, you missed a lot. Do I believe capitalism is better? No, I don't. I don't think any of them are better than the other. I mean, I feel like we've heard the term capitalism serves innovation, brings about innovation, but at what cost? We're seeing the cost. We're seeing what it's doing to us. It's making us sick. It's destroying the crops. It's, you know, we're seeing it all, and I don't have the remedy. I don't know what the solution is. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's like the way of the world right now, you know? If I feel like, yeah, it's greed-based. Do you feel like it's the best society to live in? No. Honestly, if you guys have heard about matriarchal societies, matriarchy, which is the opposite of patriarchy, but it's not about women. It's about the collective as a whole, healing the world. Matriarchy puts forward the well-being of the children first, the well-being of the world first, of the community first. That is what matriarchy is. And I think if we could live in a world like that, that would be better. Not a lot of people are going to hell. Oh, I'm cold right now. Hold on, I need a blanket. I don't know what happens to my music. And that's why they break up the homes in Black communities. Give me more context on that. I feel like I know where you're going with that, though. I feel like I know where you're going with that. Do you want to request me? How do I do that? Matriarchs is how civil rights got passed. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. I did not know that. What do you mean? Let me see. Okay.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you? But I was saying though, so you believe you don't, so you don't, you're not gonna say that you, so you don't pick socialism over capitalism. You're not saying that, right?
Um, okay. Remind me what socialism is exactly before I answer that question.
Let's by when we say socialism is where would you say socialism is more of a government controlled like a more government controlled society? Like we don't police ourselves. Like the government has more say so than us. Wouldn't like just basic like general terms. Like I just think socialism is that, isn't it?
I don't think so.
I mean, if you look it up in when it falls under socialism, socialism is going to be the government having more.
I thought it was for the people.
Yeah, look it up though. But it will basically saying for the people, but like the government is the one that police us. Like the government is the one that is going to have more say so than us. We don't police ourselves.
All right. I'm gonna read it, okay?
Yeah, look it up.
Okay. Socialism is an economic and political system
No,
based
wait,
on
you cut out. Say it again.
Socialism is an economic and political system based on public or collective ownership of the means of production, factories, land, resources, rather than private ownership. It aims to reduce inequality by distributing wealth more equitably, often involving state control or cooperative management to ensure resources meet common needs rather than private profit.
I so right there in what you said in the first beginning, political, right? The
Hmm.
keyword, like I said, is more political, more politically controlled.
Hmm.
Second is public, so that means the government has more control and more say so than
I
us.
see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
All right, so now follow me. Privately owned and no, privately owned in capitalism is makes basically saying you in yourself can own your home, right?
Uh-huh.
Right? So like let's say you buy your property and you have the right to plant your fruits, your whatever you want to do, right? This is a capital that's a capital world. Now in the social world, let's just say you buy your house, right? Now, just say you and your community agree and say, "Hey, we want to do this," right?
Hmm.
But because it's a more government controlled society, they can say no. We don't want to do this. Like the government can actually come in and the government has more control of the infrastructure. They don't. We have less say so in a socialistic world.
Really?
Yes, like let's say like for instance like for like because I was just learning this last semester, right? So like
I'm gonna learn some more of this, by the way. Thank you for for showing me what this is. Go ahead.
yeah, so like we were just talking about this last semester. So like like we we look at capitalism and say it's bad, right? But I don't think capitalism is necessarily bad, right?
Hmm.
Capitalism becomes good when we learn how to control ourselves,
Okay.
right? We don't like we can come together in a capitalist world right now. If me and you lived in the same town, like let's just say we lived in the same town, and all our neighbors in the same town say, "Hey, okay, nobody in this town will be allowed to steal, and if they steal in this town, we are going to come together as a community and police our own community and give them and hand them over, right? We're going to police our own community. We're going to make sure that if the roads need to be fixed, we come together as a community and do so together. So I don't look at capitalism as a bad thing if we can learn how to police ourselves.
Mm.
We can actually police ourselves. Like we if like for instance, there's votes and there's approvals in which is put in place in capitalism. If we're in a socialistic world, we'll never be able to have certain votes that we have because our voice is strong. Our voice is very powerful in the capitalistic world.
I
Our
hear
voice
what you're saying.
our voice can be fully taken from us in a socialistic world.
Someone said, but capitalism can also allow someone else to gain full control of your crops.
Wait. So look, this is not how. This is how when you say grow. full control of your crops, what you mean? Like, let's say you have land and somebody takes control of it because you didn't pay it.
Well, they can patent the seeds.
No, what? What?
Production.
Elaborate. Is Margie McFly elaborate? Because like, what do you mean by that? Because then like, like allow someone else to gain full control of your crops. They patent the seed. Like, what do you mean?
I
Uh,
mean, okay, so okay, when I feel like we're getting very political right
we
now.
don't got it. We don't got to go political. All right.
When I hear what you're saying, but what I was like really talking about was like the energy, the underlying energy of capitalism itself, which is based rooted in overproduction, um, and it leads to like burnout. It leads to mass producing things, which is making us sick, and all of that stuff. I'm talking about like the underlying energetic principle of capitalism.
And
How
that's where I
it's
still got to disagree
over.
with you. I got to disagree with you there too, right? Right. Like, so let's say, like, for instance, like, science is not bad. What you do with science makes it bad.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. We really trust ourselves? Can we
That's,
really trust
but
ourselves when we live
that's,
in a world, when we live in a world, when we live in a world where billionaires exist, rooted in
so. What is wrong with billionaires existing?
they're they're creating, it sounds like more opportunities, but they're also creating unethical ways of life. They're also creating.
Unethical ways of life been before billionaires, right? Would you say that? How does
It's been a gradual, I think it's a gradual, it's gradually gotten there.
but how
Like,
would you say? My question to you is, let's I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you finish speaking? I don't want to interrupt you. My bad. Before I let you speak, were you finished speaking?
yeah, I am now.
But okay, so let's say basically like that goes back to the argument in which we started it. Not even argument. I don't want to use the word argument. Let me find a better language to
You
use.
on
Like,
fire right now.
huh?
I said, you on fire right now. Slow, slow down.
Me? You say I'm on fire?
Yeah. No,
What?
you're
What?
passionate. You're super passionate right now.
I don't. Nah, let me dial in. Is the tone a little aggressive?
It's okay. It's okay. You're passionate about the things that you know.
No, because I'm not going to speak unless I truly mean what I say, and I don't think it's assertiveness. I wouldn't say it's aggression either. It's assertive, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, let me dial it down a notch. I got you. But here's what I'm saying, right? There's like, okay, now overpopulation. You kind of drag my thoughts when you said that. Hold on,
I'm sorry.
it's okay. But basically we're
Get it
talking
back.
about what were you saying though? Say it again. Finish the last part. What you just said.
Okay, so you were saying that if we can control ourselves,
Oh
capitalism
yeah.
will work. And so I'm telling you,
Can we trust ourselves?
can we trust ourselves and can we put that trust on other people? And that just goes back to
Yeah. Well,
I don't think we can. I don't think we
okay.
can.
So there's there's where I draw the line, right? So let's say you say, can we trust ourselves? Yes, we can. Can you trust yourself? How do you pronounce your name?
Yaris.
All right, Yaris. Do you believe you can trust Yaris?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself though.
Okay, but here's the fair point. You can trust yourself,
Hmm.
and there's others who believe that they can trust themselves as well. So why is it that your thought went to like people can't control themselves if you can control yourself?
Because not everybody has a level of, not everybody is operating from a place of wholeness, discernment, and all of those things that matter. You know what I mean? To me personally.
So here's my belief, right? I do believe that we can control ourselves, and the ones that can be controlled.
I don't think so because it's not showing up. It's not showing up today in the world.
Well, when
It's
you
not. It's not when we have food that's making us sick. It's obviously not working.
No, but then here's the thing, right? If we as people, if we as people came together and said, "Hey, we don't want this," do you believe it can come off the shelf?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, motherfuckers can't be united for one thing. Like, so how is that gonna happen?
I don't even
People
think
are
we
more
can.
worried about Megan the Stallion and Clay Thompson breaking up or whatever happened.
All right, so do you
You
believe
understand what I'm saying about society? Like, that's what I'm talking about.
true? The mass population is not filled with is not filled with leadership, but when a brave leader steps in place, don't do you think people follow?
Yeah, but we don't. I agree. People have no choice but to follow. You know what I'm saying? But who are the great leaders in place, and where is their mind and heart at right now? Look
Let's
who's our
start. Let's start.
president. You know, look
It's,
who's
it,
our for example.
it start by it start by it start by one. It starts by one dreamer, right? One dreamer, one believer can change millions of people. Can actually change the world. Actually,
No, we don't have any more Malcolm X's. We don't got any more
we
Martin
got a
Luther.
we got a Yaris.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, that
yeah.
is one.
So what you saying? Like, listen, I'm gonna understand what y'all say.
Follow
You can't.
me.
We can't understand what y'all say. People can police themselves, man. We can't police ourselves. We can't believe in ourselves. We
Oh,
can't do
you
them things.
Jamaican?
Yeah.
Come on.
So like we can take it there. It just is that thing where we can almost say it. It's a way we just say it. Like we gotta understand. Like we gotta people can police themselves. We can have leaders. We can have great leaders of our time. We can have.
I don't know, yo. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off, but like, I'm gonna bring up some important people that were in the Epstein file that are wealthy and leaders who were literally trafficking children and raping children and minors and doing ritualistic sacrifices with children. I'm not trying to be like negative about the world, but I'm just being realistic about like the state of the world and who our leaders are. And I do agree with you when you say that hell yeah. If we can control ourselves and exist in capitalism, that would be absolutely beautiful and utopian because then that means that people's ideas, it'll do what it's supposed to do, birth innovation and things like that. But like it's literally like it is birthing innovation, but it's also breeding a lot of like things that are also not good for us. And I think like the point that I was trying to make, I think it's what you're trying to make, which is finding a balance. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
finding the balance of how we can yeah, live in balance in a capitalistic world. You know what I mean?
my fear is when people keep on saying, "Oh, we want a socialistic world," right? Like so, like agendas are always hidden, right? Slant and seeds are always planted with, like, for instance, like like how can I say it? Like like when people want to take over something, they start to plant seeds, and you start to see things everywhere without you even realizing. But the ropey dope might make it. Like for instance, everything that glitters ain't gold, right?
Mhm.
Let's say the perfect example. Let's use that monologue. Everything that glitters isn't gold. So because of not true understanding, we might say, "Yo, we want that," but not realizing if we get that, that is not what we want. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not what we want. Now, in the world that we live in today, again, there's social leaders who are bad, and there's social leaders who are some are good. Now, propagandas and negativity spread faster, and that's what our eyes is attracted to. That's where our mind is being attracted to. Doesn't necessarily means that there's not good to be found out there. This conversation right here, if we just perfect place, the perfect understanding of this conversation in which we're engaging in right now, if we was to just scroll or just put our thing to the right now and look up at the other conversations that is happening and look at what's being going on besides outside of this conversation and see what is being highlighted, what is getting receiving the maximum amount of numbers, etc., etc. We can't. We It's like there's no way to feel bad. Like it's like I don't even feel bad to say like, oh, like look at what the world is. No, it comes from consistency in us operating, right? Let's say Yari's come up here every time and she's engaging in these strong conversations, and then she puts these conversations out there. Conversation needs to be had in order for the world to even see it, right? Because we're not having conversations about this. Like, oh, people care about Megan Thee Stallion and Clay Thompson. We're not saying that we shouldn't care. Everybody's actually more people care than more people saying that that's not our concern. We still ain't addressed the Epstein files yet. Instead of people saying we ain't even addressed the Epstein file yet. Forget Clay and Megan Thee Stallion personal relationship. Why are we not still addressing these Epstein files? Who's getting arrested? What's actually gonna get done behind this? Why is there not a social media news site highlighting of fully taking their time to spend times on this, right? Like you see how fast everything is blowing over. Like nothing is actually even sticking, especially the worst of things, right? Like there's a kid in Colorado that just cut somebody that basically was a new Jeffrey Dahmer. Cut somebody's head off and had it in his house, and he was 19 years old. He just wanted to see what murder was like. That's what his answer was when the officer asked him. So I think it's just that we are not actually paying attention to what we have to pay attention to, and there's nobody out there having the conversations for us to start to pay attention to it. And then the people who are paying attention to it, I think those people that do have the conversation are just so they're just so much that it's just like it's like it's absurd. Like you can preach and want good for the world without doing too much. Like I don't think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King looked or operated in a certain way. They still made it appealing. They looked cool doing what they was doing, right? Like they didn't have to like we are in a drastic, like you see people go from here to completely left, and I'm like, oh man, you did that completely wrong.
Mm.
Like, like the bait and switch. I think J. Cole's a perfect bait and switch, right? Like J. Cole's one of the perfect bait and switch to me. Right? Like you
Uh-huh.
laugh. Because what I
I'm
say is
laughing because go ahead.
no, what you gonna say? Say it. I wanna hear what you're gonna say.
No, 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 no. It's just we going there. But go ahead.
Now I wanna hear what you're gonna say first. Go ahead.
No, say what you gotta say.
No, I think J. Cole's a dope person, right? You don't think he's no, so why that face? Why that face?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to see what you're gonna say. I'm trying to see what you're gonna get at.
Alright, so
Trying to
like
follow you right now.
the perfect bait and switch is what I say is like when you get people to believe you get people to listen, you get people to follow, right? Like I think these are people that did it well. Like some people that I'll say Nipsey Hussle, J. Cole is like the perfect bait and switch to me, right? Now when I say bait and switch, I don't mean like in a bad way. I'm saying like these are people who we have seen experience life in a way that we want it. Like wisdom come from experience, right? So these people can tell you like Malcolm X is one of them people that can tell you like I know what it is to be a gangster, right? Like Malcolm X can literally tell you, I know what it is
You're
to kill.
talking about performance. You're talking about the performative
Yeah, the
stuff.
performative part of it, like you can actually, because I'm saying that's how the best. I think that's one of the best way to reverse time. Like even looking at you from past to today, that's the best way to reverse it, right? Because you can say you can sit down and speak to a woman, and if she have a dialogue with you, you can be like, I understand where you're coming from. If her third eye isn't open today, you think, let's say you meet a younger woman, and and you can see younger you in her. Wouldn't you be able to like to understand and speak to that person's mindset, emotions, mentally, physically, financially, to understand her decisions to say, hey, I was actually there.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that's the perfect part. Some people just go
Uh-huh.
completely left without understanding, and not taking the empathy out of it, instead of saying, okay, I've been there, I've done that, I understand. So let me tell you what it is. Let me truly break it down to you to show you how we can stay and go good.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah. I think what you're getting at is you're talking about people who are performative.
Yeah. When you say,
performative in
go
their
ahead, elaborate what you mean.
like you're talking about someone who is embodied and has embodied wisdom and not like just saying something because it sounds good.
True.
And you're trying to say that we need more people that are operating from from like an embodied place, not a performative place of like, this sounds good and I want people to listen to me because yada, yada, yada.
Yeah. Yes. Because I truly believe that, and I even think like today community, like how we are with our phones and this and that to the third. Like I don't like how people say billionaires are bad, and I'm like, why y'all think billionaires are bad? If you became a billionaire today, would you be bad? Would you be considered a bad person?
It's just the thing is, there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire.
Why you say that though? What? Why? Why would you sit here and say that?
Because when you go down to the core of it, their wealth was built on the backs of the working class, who is probably
So
exploded.
is your do you come from
Exhausted.
immigrants?
Like, for example, Jeff Bezos and the Amazon, they're severely underpaid.
All right, hold on. Let's
And
ask. Let me ask you a
also
question.
benefit one man who has more money than there are people in the world.
All right, so let me ask you a question. Right? Do
And what is
you
he doing with that money,
do
really?
you do are you? What's your background?
My background is in what, where I'm from,
Ethnicity, like your family's ethnicity.
Dominican.
Dominican. All right. So your family came to America for a better living, right?
Yeah,
Better opportunity, better living.
that's what was sold to a lot of immigrants.
But again, let's say don't let's not say it was sold. It was sold, right? But do you not agree that there are better opportunities in America than there is back at home?
Um, yeah,
Okay.
there are more ways to make money.
Right. So there's more opportunity, right? So do you think somebody who's from the campo and they come here and they start from where they started from and it will be considered unethical when they start to make some type of like a lot of money?
I mean, do what you got to do, and I think that's what it is that we are supposed to do because we have to survive. And I think what I'm trying to say is that it's at the end of the day, yes, it's putting a roof over our head, but it's also hurting us because we're not spending time with our loved ones. We're not taking care of our bodies. We're just working, working, working to put food on the table. I think that is what the underlying point of it all of this entire conversation is.
But do you think there's
I
this,
mean,
this do you believe there's systems in place that we don't have to work? Because if we back home, do you think you have to work? If you go back home, you have to work. DR isn't DR a place where you have to work hard in order to get to even to do anything?
yes, yes, that is the world that we live in. It's that.
So I'm saying, so how is it that because of why does it make a billionaire unethical? Why does a billionaire become unethical because they're a billionaire? Like, you think there's no ethical billionaires? Like none.
No,
So you don't think no one with money is ethical?
no, I don't think so. I don't think it's actually possible.
Why? Well, I don't understand that. Like, why? I'm truly help me, enlighten me. Why you don't think nobody with money can be ethical?
Well, I mean, you got to look at, like I said, look at the work week schedule, look at what is asked of the people who make this person rich, and then you make your own assessment. But you could also just disagree. You know what I mean?
Okay, I just look at it like if somebody started out from like, let's say somebody started a blue collar job and this person.
I think you're also unethical. Unethical means at its core level, it's not, how do I put this? I'm like trying to break it down so you like could really understand like what that means. I feel like you're thinking like, oh, what if I become a billionaire today? Will I be a bad person? Or like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
When I'm literally trying to say that the systems that are in place make it to where it's inevitably unethical because of how we're worked to death. That's just a small example. We're
Um,
worked to death, but you're looking at it as survival, and that's the conditioning, and that's okay. But we don't live in a utopian world, so it's not going to be all roses and butterflies, right? We have to work, we have to survive, we have to put food on the table, and that's just how it is.
they frying me in the chat.
Yeah.
they,
But
they said,
listen, I'm gonna
come
move
on.
forward.
All right. All right.
Okay, this was a great conversation.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for
All
joining.
right. Go ahead.
Have a good night. Y'all frying him right now. Listen, a lot of people do not see it that way, They don't see it that way. But hey. Was I too nice? Oh, was I really too nice? I was just trying to also be respectful of other people's opinions. Um, yes, nonetheless, exactly. This is a safe space. So come as you are, even if you don't agree, and that's okay. Thanks, Madeline. Yeah, we can just agree to disagree. It's okay. Truly, 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 truly. But I feel like the conversation did lean very political, which it's okay because I mean if we're talking about the political structures, but what I was talking about was the energetic principles of these political structures and how they're not balanced, and that is like the whole point of today's topic. Not actually making it political, not literally. But yeah. Okay. But it was a good conversation. I love being challenged. I do. Because also now I'm gonna learn, because I also now want to look into socialism, because I have heard socialism used before a lot. And I think he may have a point, with like socialism. Okay, we're gonna talk about political, but like while it may sound good, it may not be. So I'm gonna do some homework there. Um, but anybody else wants to go live before I have a bit more though that I do want to talk about. Hold on. Relating to our point, and then we wanted to talk about imposter syndrome. There was something that a couple people in here wanted to talk about with that, and I can talk about that a lot because I feel like I've overcome and am overcoming my imposter syndrome. So we can also talk about that in a second before I get too sleepy. But here there's a few points that I do before we close out on the feminine and masculine principles and we talk about imposter syndrome. There's a few points that I want to make that I feel like are worth mentioning about keeping these energies in balance within us. And I feel like I did kind of talk about this one, which is like balancing our feminine and masculine energies isn't always going to be 50-50. It's not always going to be a complete 50-50 100% of the time, and it's not always perfectly split between feminine and masculine at all times. Balance is about having access to both of these energies all the time, like when the opportunity or when the situation calls for it, right? So I gave an example about like during grief, say somebody passes away, like at that moment, more feminine energy is required because, you know, you're tender, you're soft, you're nurturing, you're consolidating other people. So you're nurturing, so you're in that feminine. Or like during crisis or leadership, more masculine energy is needed when they're healthy, when it's healthy. Again, always when it's divine, when it's healthy, when it's not distorted, when it's not wounded. Healthy systems are adaptive. And then our trauma. Okay, so our trauma often shapes which energy we over-identify with. For example, like someone who grew up in chaos, they may cling to control, structure, hyper-independence, and that is usually a sign of an overdeveloped masculine. So again, we've seen our mothers grow up, you know, in controlling and too much structure and like all that stuff, and not tending to their rest, not tending to their needs, which would be the restorative feminine aspect of it, which is important. So yeah, so a lot of us, we're not expressing our true balance, we're just expressing survival strategies that we have to learn to deal with, you know. So that is the thing, we have to identify our traumas because that's where it comes from. So society, which goes back to what I was talking to with I forgot his name, who I just went live with, rewards imbalance. And I think he's a perfect representation of someone who finds the reward in that imbalance, you know, where modern culture rewards constant productivity, hustling, performing, emotional suppression. So we have a lot of people who are being praised for being dysregulated. And again, the first thing that comes up is like Donald Trump, for example. But so yeah, burnout is usually rewarded because it's like, oh, you worked so hard, you know what I mean? But like you're literally burnt out. And another nuance is a healed masculine, a divine masculine. He protects without controlling. He leads without overpowering. He creates safety, structure, consistency. And the wounded would be the opposite of all those things. And a healthy feminine, she's not helpless. She's not passive. She is intuitive and discerning. She's open with boundaries. Emotionally connected without abandoning herself. That is a healed feminine. And then, so these energies are constantly cycling within us. So we receive inspiration, that's the feminine. We create a plan, that's the masculine. We revise intuitively, that's the feminine. We execute, that's the masculine. Life moves in a rhythm like that, right? And creation itself requires both. This is one of the clearest universal examples. Nothing in this world manifests without a receptive generative phase and an organizing executing phase. Even a simple idea requires receiving inspiration and acting on it. That's the rhythm, that's the dance between feminine and masculine. And so the goal is not to become one more than the other. It's not to be more masculine. It's not to be more feminine. It's to become integrated, so embodied that you're not operating purely from survival. And I think that's where I left off today for this topic. And then we're gonna continue into like the suppression and like all the other stuff. But yeah. Any questions about that, about the divine feminine and masculine energies? And I'm gonna have my live put up on YouTube, guys. I always do. So if you missed it and you wanted to like take notes and stuff like that, like you can go back to my YouTube and on my YouTube channel, and it will be up in like a couple. We'll probably put it up tomorrow. It'll be available right away in case you missed it, because it's really good. We went over a lot of things. Yes, D, you came up. I wanted to ask you, what is it that you wanted to talk about in regards to like imposter syndrome? Like what? I think you were telling me that you realized something this week or something like that. Because I feel like we can tie this back into feminine and masculine principles and energies. Because I can tell you right now that I believe a way to get out of imposter syndrome, which is like you believing you're not qualified, you're not worthy, the stories you tell yourself that, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, or, you know, that's all imposter syndrome, which keeps us from not becoming and not being who we are like meant to be, you know. But like if we look at what we talked about today and how our masculine protects our feminine aspect, that means you will protect your ideas, you will protect your becoming. That's your masculine side, and you will allow yourself to fully be a full expression of yourself, of what you came here to do. Okay, like how so, D? I think coming out of a very toxic relationship, I've realized I have some imposter syndrome traits. So how did they show up in your relationship? Do you wanna, you don't need to turn your camera on, but do you wanna go, do you wanna talk on live, like chat with me so we could feed off of each other? A lot of it is wounding from trauma, shadow work, EMDR, IFS therapy, EFT tapping, and other somatic work. Yes. I'm actually looking into getting my, doing a course and getting my certificate of somatic practitioner. Okay. Having someone put me down so much verbally, I started to believe what he was saying. Okay, I see what you're saying. Just believing the stories that other people tell you about you. And then you started to believe those stories about yourself. I'm sorry, Mama. Oh, you guys are so supportive in here. Yeah. Well, I'm glad I'm glad you're on the other side, actually, because you're calling it out and you're naming it and you're realizing what was going on. So that's a great first step. Yep, letting it go. Because other people's projections have nothing to do with you. Like what, Brandy? Like what, for example? Like where would you like to start with that? Stuck and stagnant. Just take, all you gotta do is do one thing. If you can just do one action today, or one action today, tomorrow, towards the thing, it will compound. And next thing you know, you have movement, you have forward movement towards what you desire, or towards what you want to, a goal, or something like that. I don't know the full context of like your situation as well, but sometimes we enter seasons of our life where seems like nothing is working, because we have to go back to the drawing board, and re-strategize. And we may think nothing is happening in this season, but a lot is happening, because sometimes things have to fall apart and collapse completely for it to be reborn again, for things to come anew again. It happens so much throughout our lives. I literally just coming out of a season like that, where I get everything I thought I knew again. Here I am again, rebuilding. Yay! Not fun. Yes, pray for grace, healing, guidance, transition, for growth. Yes, Enzo, you just it will be okay. Just keep showing up every day, and again, don't believe the stories. We gotta be careful with what we choose to tell ourselves, guys. The stories that we decide to believe, because it will be what it will start. Our reality will start to reflect those stories that we tell ourselves. So we really have to be careful with the things we tell ourselves. Like, think about what timeline that you're choosing to be on right now when you say those things. Next thing you know, every move you make is going to come from that place, from that state of being, from that mental state of being, where I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to spiritually bypass like what you're saying. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of context there, Brandy. And I know that there is. But our reality will literally begin to reorganize itself based on the things that we decide to tell ourselves that are true about us, that are true about our situation, you know. And it's going to create an incoherent state within us where we're wishing for something, but our actions do not match what we were wishing for at all. It's like us, when we were talking about a couple of lives ago, we were talking about how we are energetic, like our bodies are literally energetic towers, you know, like we are frequency. We are always emitting out frequency and receiving frequency. And this, we talked about, if you go, it's on my YouTube, but like if we talked about the research that goes into this, because this is proven and all that stuff. So, damn, I lost my thought. But like if we are energetic towers, frequency, and we're emitting frequency, then everything that we choose to tell ourselves, the thoughts that we believe will reflect in the outer world, will reflect to us, back to us. And that is going to create static in your body. It's going to create static in your field. It's going to create static in your field. And I've been learning about like what coherence means, and I'm gonna bring that to you guys probably in next week or the following week. But for myself, you know, like there are certain things that we want, right? That I can see this for myself, but then my choices and my actions daily do not match someone who's already living that life would be doing. You know, so it's like you're at odds with yourself inside your body, where you're saying, oh, I want to be, for example, let's say you have a business and you're like, I want my business to bring in $30,000 a month. That is my baseline. That is where I'm going to start, right? So you could want that so bad, like you could want that so badly, but your actions are not aligning with someone who moves like they got that going, because you either don't believe you can attain it, because you either don't think that people are going to really fuck with your business, and these are stories that begin to manifest in real forms, because then our choices and the things we move, how we move through the world, is going to reflect our inner state of being. And so then we realize a year or two went by and we're not where we wanted to be. So I feel like we have to be very careful with like how we decide how we are identifying with ourselves, the circumstances in our lives, and all of that. Thanks, Dre. And that goes to imposter syndrome again, you know? You gotta move like the shit is already done. Like it's already happening. And even myself, like I thought that like I had that figured out, and then it comes to find out, no, there's like yet another ceiling. I reached yet another ceiling, you know? Oh, thank you, Brandy. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I'm so glad that I've been able to do that for you. For real. But yeah. What happened to my music, guys? you're new here, welcome, Enzo. We get vulnerable in here and we talk about real ass shit. Oh, thanks, D. I'm so glad you feel that way. It's healing me, honestly. It's giving me a place to put down all of the things that live inside me, you know? Yeah, you can send me a DM. Yeah, you can send me a DM. You can send it here on TikTok or, I don't know, Instagram. I'll be on the lookout for it, okay? I don't have all the answers, but my advice always comes from somebody who done been through hell and back. Who done been through hell and back and did not let the world turn her cold. I think that's pretty good advice. I would trust somebody from that place who can give advice from that place. Oh, thank you, Coach Brown. I'm sending you love. Yeah, Brandy, go ahead. You can send a DM. I will. I'll be on the lookout for it, okay? I got you. Okay, Kim. What you sent me? Okay, I will. I will. But how do you guys feel about today's live though? I feel like we went deep into understanding. Like now y'all can really say y'all know what that is. And it's not no bullshit. Like now you guys can really say you understand what divine feminine, divine masculine means. And if you missed the live, you can go check tomorrow. I'll put it up on my YouTube. I feel like we covered a lot of grounds today. Oh, thank you, Mama. I'm so glad you feel that way. Yeah, so now what are we gonna do, girls, ladies? We're gonna say no more often. Okay? Because your no is just as sacred as your yes. Your no is just as sacred and just as important as when you say yes. And men, what are we gonna do? We're going to be, we're gonna protect. Actually, you know what? If there's one thing I want the men to actually take away is that your worth, your identity, isn't dependent on how much you provide, how much you control, and how much you do. I think that's important. Yeah. You need to execute, move into action, and tap into the masculine energy. Yes. But in a healthy way, of course. Allowing your body to rest when you need rest, but also making a plan and sticking to it and doing what you gotta do, you know? Okay, Brandy, I'll take a look at it when I get off the live. Okay? I feel like we briefly touched on the imposter syndrome conversation. I feel like a couple people really wanted to touch on it today, but I feel like I can do a live about it though, dedicated to it, because that's something that I've been working for years to like unlearn about myself, you know, like even showing up today, like even showing up lately as like getting on live and doing these lives and coming up here and saying I'm gonna teach something. Do you know how much I fought back with that? Because I said, I would tell myself, who do I think I am? Who do I think I am to sit up here and teach anything, right? And we can tell ourselves, oh, because you're not where you want to be yet, you know, you haven't been through this, you haven't achieved this, or da 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 da. When that ain't got nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it. I can sit up here and talk about all these things because I lived these things, and that is better. That is the best way to teach than anyone. Anyone could pick up a book and learn something, you know what I'm saying? But lived experience, to me personally, someone who's lived through the shit can talk about it, talk the talk. Brie, it's crazy because I thought to myself, it must be hard for her to show up weekly. Yo, listen. I mean, even when I showed up, like, for example, last week and like yesterday, where I didn't have anything to talk about, I was fighting with myself because I was like, I don't have anything to give them. I'm not enough. Like, me being like, you guys chit-chatting with me last week when I was having wine and like my best friend was at my house and stuff like that. I was kind of like hesitant to even do that because I was like, they're not getting anything from this live. I'm just gonna sit there and do what? Do nothing. Like, they're not gonna receive anything. And that is like another story we tell ourselves of like, no, like, you're enough, you know, you showing up is enough. You don't always need to be performing. You don't always need to be teaching. You don't always need to be doing also, you know? So literally everything that I like talk about, I'm learning with you guys. Like, I'm learning at the same time for myself, you know? But no, it was just hard to even just like overcome that, to like come up here and be like, oh, I'm gonna start doing lives where I'm gonna be, you know, talking about all the things that I've learned, you know. Oh, I missed something. I'm reading through the comments, guys. 1 second. Thank you, Coach Brown. Thank you. Thank you, Bree. Oh, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Okay, what's the difference between light and dark feminine? I don't know which I am. Light and dark. So light would probably be what you're referring to, would probably be the divine feminine, and then dark would probably be distorted, working from. And I'm gonna put the live on YouTube so you can watch it tomorrow. But I feel like, long story short, dark feminine, she's probably operating from a place of like manipulation and wounding and stuff like that, and survival, where the light feminine, divine feminine, she is not. She is whole just as she is. She trusts, she lets go, she has trust, she is nurturing, she doesn't have an ulterior motive or agenda. Oh, y'all still going in the chat about the billionaire topic? There's no such thing, Tamanegi. Am I pronouncing that right? What do I do if I already hit the peak of knowledge from downloading my Akashic records? There's no such thing. We're always learning. We're always learning. I thought dark, wounded, divine, and light were all 4 different types. No, I don't think so. I think there's just different wordplay. I think it's different wordplay. Come here, mama. Oh, my kitty. Yeah, no. Back to I was like I was low-key feeling kind of tired today too, but I was like, let me show up to, I'm trying to be impeccable with my word. That's another thing I'm practicing. Being impeccable with my word. Integrity. Integrity is where your actions and your words match. And when nobody is watching, who you say you are, you are. But okay, guys, I'm getting ready to log off. Today was really nice. I enjoyed our conversation today. You already know, tune in next week. Unless something comes up, because that happens sometimes. Like I'm usually going live on Thursdays, but something came up and I had to move the day. But I will always let you guys know ahead of time. I wish to be coming live more. I go live once a week. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good to start. But what I'm about to do is enjoy the rest of my night. I want to watch a movie with my daughter and probably order some food. I'm hungry now. I'm hungry. I didn't eat dinner yet. And it's 11 o'clock. That's no good. But I did have a big lunch. Oh, thank you, Mama. Wait, remind me your name again. Ocean. Ocean. That's your name, right? I remember now because it's such a beautiful name. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dee. Good night. Thank you. I love you guys so much. Next live, next Thursday. That is the plan. That is the plan, unless anything changes. But my crew is always in here. Good night, Coach Brown. Good night. Good night, Kay. And I need to know what your name is. You have like a heart symbol with an exclamation point on your name. I'm starting to remember everyone's names. Oh, Darius. Yeah, but I'm gonna put the video, I'm gonna put the live on my YouTube so you guys can see it. It'll be up tomorrow, so maybe check tomorrow night. It'll be up in case you missed any of it. Kalichi, that is such a cute name. Oh my goodness. It is so cute. That is so cute. Okay. Okay, guys. Good night. See you guys next week.